You emphasized the importance of starting with raw materials and finished goods, using item cards as a Bible.
Mhm.
Can you explain why this foundational step is so critical for a successful Dynamics 365 implementation in the food and beverage industry?
Well, just imagine if you could go to one place and find out everything about a finished good or raw material, from the shelf life to the allergens to quantities on hand and where they're located. As far as, I mean, we have a couple of offsite facilities where we store raw materials and we store finished goods, plus the four facilities that we work out of. So we want to make sure that as we're procuring raw materials, we know where those raw materials are at to be able to transfer them to the proper location. Um, some of the things that we wanted to have at our fingertips, as I said, was allergen monitoring. Um, our former CFO had a son who was very allergic to peanut butter, peanuts,
Mm, yeah.
and or peanuts. Yeah. So one evening he was out with friends and they were in a mall and they stopped at a place to get a pretzel, and not knowing that pretzel was cooked in peanut oil, and they tried numerous times to revive him with EpiPens, and he ended up passing away. So
Wow.
we know that the to make we want to make sure that, first of all, when we receive a raw material, we know what allergens are in there, and we can post those in our warehouses. So if somebody is allergic to a seafood or a soy or a wheat, they can stay clear of this area in the facility.
Yeah.
And we also want to make sure that, by all means, that the finished goods have the right allergen warnings on them. Whether there's a soy or a peanut or you know any type of the nine allergens.
Yeah.
Um, we also want to make sure that there's vendor identification. How do we read a manufacturer dates on containers as they come into our facility, and how do we read vendor lot numbers? We want to set up viscosity and pH and salt on the that we want to monitor at the kettles, and we also when we do a batch of product, um, a production batch of product, there are CCPs, critical control points, in place during that whole process. And so during those processes, you want to make sure that you check your viscosity, the thickness of the product, and whether you need to add some flour or some starch to make it thicker, or some water to make it thinner, to make sure that product is the same as every batch.
Hmm.
We also set up micro tests, the tests that need to be ran when finished goods are produced. We send a bag out of every product to an offsite facility to test for micros. And um, maybe the farmer's dog product doesn't get all of the same micro testing that Panera chicken noodle might get. But we want to make sure that those things are marked on an item card, and then when we send out the Excel sheet that says these are the batches that you're going to get, these are the bags you're going to get, and these are the tests that we want on every bag.
Yeah.
Um, we show use by date calculations based on manufacturer suggestions, and we have those dates. 1 year, 2 year, 365 days, 60 days, whatever that the manufacturer's suggested dates are. But we also have a Park 100 um, use by date. And so if we get cinnamon in, for example, that the manufacturer says, hey, that cinnamon lasts 2 years, we may, knowing that we have culinary chefs that create the product, they may say that cinnamon starts to lose its efficiency after 6 months. The flavor loses, some of its intensity. So we put in an extra field that says Park 100 used by reference. So that might be,
Yeah.
it might be 180 days instead of 365.
Yeah.
Um, And those date calculations also, because on our item card we show them how to read the manufacturer's lot numbers and their dates. Those dates also print out on the allergen tags or the non-allergen tags if there's no allergen, that says used by June 22nd,
Yeah.
2026.